some solo tricks that normal people actually find impressive, there is no better solo than John Mayer's live performance of Gravity. Music psychology research has identified something fascinating. As music complexity increases, there's a sweet spot where music playing skills impresses normal people the most, before technicality makes the music less approachable for most listeners, and eventually only guitarists appreciate it. Today I'm going to slow down 4 tricks that sit right in this little sweet spot. And the first one clears up something that I see trip up almost all intermediate players. Step 1. Most guitarists know that a repeatable melody or motif is powerful for hooking audiences, but even when they create a nice simple melody, they struggle with where to take the melody to make it truly impressive. Guitarists obsess over technical complexity, but what the research has found is that when listening to people playing music, normal people prefer music that is mostly familiar, but occasionally surprising. And May has mastered this. Can you work out here what he's doing in the 3 separate repetitions of the melody? May uses 3 steps to take a melody from simple to impressive. Firstly, he establishes this basic melody and keeps it nice and simple. The second time around, he adds this bluesy lick to the end, but he still keeps it connected by playing the main melody at the start. And the third time he plays it with more excitement and intense vibrato. This is what makes Mayer's playing impressive. He hooks listeners with simple melodies and raises the intensity. You can easily do this yourself. After you create a simple melody, the next time, add a blues lick at the end. And the third time you can add more intensity. And then you can bring it home. Mayer only does 3 steps because then he takes it to another level, but this development of a melody is what transforms a simple idea into something genuinely impressive. But whilst developing melodies is a great idea for a shorter solo, for a longer solo, you need some high intensity playing, and Mayer does this perfectly with his next trick. It's time to address this, but if you were to poll most guitarists on what's the most impressive technique, hey, what's the most impressive thing on guitar? Fast. And what's second? Speed. Anything else? Fast speed. But while speed is impressive to other guitarists, normal people actually connect with climactic peaks and emotional contrast rather than just constant shredding. Mayer uses speed tactically, combining it with other tricks, and it is just beautiful. In fact, there are 3 jaw-dropping tricks that Mayer throws into this one phrase. Can you spot them all? The first one is he simply just plays fast. I watched Mayer's live in LA performance, and this is as fast as his picking playing gets. But it's comforting to know that you can get maximum impact from just a few strategically placed fast notes, rather than just constant shredding. The problem with constant shredding is that there is no climactic peak. A great solo is like an action film, but if you only had constant explosions, it would actually get quite boring. The second one is also easy to spot. He starts the lick here on the 15th fret, and then he drops it all the way down here, an octave to the 3rd fret. Most intermediates, because of the way that they've learned to play in boxes, tend to just stick to the same area. But this octave switch is one of the easiest ways to move up and down the fretboard. You just go down 12 frets or up 12 frets. Easy peasy. The third one is much harder to spot. The main motif was in the G major pentatonic scale. But this lick is predominantly G minor blues scale. This is a huge gear shift that feels jarring until he shifts out of it with an incredible resolution, which I'll run through next. But very occasionally switching from major to minor over blues or even country works, but I would practice it before trying it live. So to use the easiest of these tricks and to give your listener an unexpected shock, start a lick high and finish it low. They never see it coming.
What?
But if you're now all the way down here, but all the exciting notes on the guitar are up here, how do you go from one place to the next? Well, this is what Mayer does next, and it's nice. Two common intermediate traps are just playing up and down in boxes, which makes getting up and down the neck in any interesting way impossible. And the second problem is they play with little enthusiasm. But can you see here how Mayer solves both problems? Mayer solves both of these problems by playing across the strings. These ghost notes are tricky to achieve because you need to be able to mute the strings effectively. But if you can pull it off, it gives you the ability to play with gusto. Now he just runs up the G major scale here, which contrasts really well with that G minor pentatonic lick I mentioned before. Runs up the major scale feel really satisfying to humans, and ending it on an epic high note makes it feel instantly impressive. It's like Mariah Carey running up the scale and hitting that high note on Emotion. Yeah, I just mentioned Mariah Carey in a guitar solo video. It's fun. To use this yourself, practice going up the neck in either the major or minor scale patterns. Stevie Ray Vaughan did this thing where it was like... and it's really effective. So you can just start with like basic patterns, but focus on that smooth transitions between notes. But now with the top of the fretboard, Mayer's done some really impressive things already, but how did he take it even to the next level? Well, this is the final impressive technique. Less experienced guitarists run out of ideas on longer solos and don't know how to create new concepts that don't clash completely with single note melodies. Normal people are always drawn to emotional playing. They're looking for a little bit of drama in the solo. Mayer uses a technique that gives the listener a bit of ear candy, and it comes right at the peak emotional height of the solo. Let's introduce new ideas that contrast really well with the rest of the solo. Instead of just playing single notes, he's playing these stacked double stops that create harmonic richness. They're not random, they're carefully chosen to complement the underlying chords. So over this G, this is the G triad, he's playing this G7. And he eventually gets to this C triad with this shape. So it resolves really nicely over that C chord. And they are played with the intensity that matches this epic part of the solo. You can use these style of double stops to follow the chords. So let's say we had an A chord. At the top we would have this triad. And then you just play intensely. So here are the 4 ways that Mayer takes familiar ideas and makes them truly impressive for normal people. So now you too can impress normal people just like Mayer does. Individual results may vary. I'll play through the most impressive parts, and if you want the backing track and tabs, it's available in the link below. doesn't know how to craft a long melodic solo like John Mayer, I'd watch this video next.